Gulumanaka, Fiji, and welcome to Gold FM Speak Your Mind. And today we will be touching on an issue that is just as important to you as it is to us here at Gold FM. And joining us also a representative from the World Wildlife Fund for Nature's office, WWF office in the Pacific. And, we welcome on the show Ms. Fulori Tuyasawa. Welcome to Speak Your Mind.
Vinaka Pedeli, Bolivinaka Fiji, and Bolivinaka to all the Fiji Gold listeners out there listening this afternoon. Naka.
Well, Fulori is also going to be telling us a little bit, something that happens every year, and it is Earth Hour. And this year, it's about going beyond the hour. And there's also, what is the theme for this year's Earth Hour?
Thank you, Pedeli. This year's Earth Hour theme is climate change. Use your power to change climate change.
And now, Earth Hour, for those who are the uninitiated, what does Earth Hour, how did it start and what was the beginnings of this here in Fiji?
Vinaka Pedeli, Earth Hour started in 2007 in Sydney, Australia, when 2.2 million people and businesses turned off their lights, of non-essential lights for 1 hour to raise awareness on the need to take actions on climate change. It is like bringing people together through a symbolic hour-long event, then to galvanize people into taking action beyond the hour.
Now, a lot of people have participated in this. Now, the first time that we celebrated or we marked here in Fiji, we started along with Australia at that time?
Yes, Pedeli.
And now the WWF Pacific office has taken on this initiative. How well has this fared with your partners and with Fijians?
Yes, Pedeli, I would like to take us back to when it initially started. With Earth Hour, this is one of the event. It's a worldwide event organized by WWF, not only in the Pacific, worldwide fund for nature around the world globally. And it is usually held towards the end of March annually. That is encouraging businesses and households to turn off their non-essential lights. It's non-essential lights for 1 hour to raise awareness on climate change. And back to your questions on how well
our Fijians and
yes,
Pacific Islanders
the local Pacific for the Pacific region, we have seen a good turnout of the public in realizing the actions they take and understanding Earth Hour. That is increasing the number of households' participation in switching off their lights from 8:30 to 9:30, sacrificing their Hong Kong 7's viewing time, because that is the Hong Kong 7's weekend.
I was just going to say that, is there any particular significance or is it just happens to be on those dates?
That is because when it was initially started in Sydney in 2007, it was marked as the last Saturday of March. So last Saturday of March, and from then onwards, we've been celebrating Earth Hour on the last Saturday of every end of March annually.
Okay. And there are no plans to change this date?
Not at the moment.
Unless the Hong Kong 7's changes. Well, the climate change, of course, takes significance over Hong Kong 7's, and we all know this. It is also very simple. Yeah, it's something that the whole family and children and everyone can participate in.
Yes, Pedeli, this is it's not only for corporate, for business, for corporates, or not only for adults. This is for everyone, including children, those who stays at home, corporates. It's for everyone, every individuals coming together to encouraging households and businesses to come together. And the switching off the lights, it's a symbolic. It's just a symbolic of switching, that is realizing the actions you take, understanding what climate change, and bringing everybody together, come together, celebrate Earth Hour, and support a sustainable environment.
And not only that, the immediate effect of switching off your lights and power, or non-essential power, means, of course, saving your electricity bill. And that goes a long way. If you look at it in the long run, are you saving money, and you're also having to help sustain our environment.
Yes, Pedeli. It is with WWF, it's much more than just an hour. So it's also a reminder that we need to look after our planet all year round, and that is the way we live has impacts. The way we live has impacts that we can't always see or have an experience directly, from extreme weather changes such as flooding or droughts to food shortages, loss of species, and deforestations. Yeah, so as I've mentioned earlier, WWF's Earth Hour is not about saving an hour's electricity. It's much bigger than that, and it's about realizing the action we take, from the energy we use to the food we buy, and the drinks, which has an water we buy, the food we buy, and the water we drink has an effect on the world.
Right, well, with all these obvious effects, and do you WWF Pacific keep a track of the participants and how well a response, if you can look at it that way? Do you have data?
Yes, we do Pedeli, and it's amazing to see the increasing number of participants, increasing number of calls coming to WWF. 1 month before Earth Hour, they are telling WWF that they will be celebrating Earth Hour, requesting for Earth Hour materials, Earth Hour marketing materials, and that's how we gauge our the participants, the number of people, the number of companies that have been coming forward, informing us that they will be celebrating Earth Hour. They will be organizing Earth Hour fundraising drive. We'll go later into that when we come to the plans for the 2015.
Now, just basically, since you've touched on, is there a sort of registration? Well, we've just been running out of time for this segment, but hey, stay with us. We will keep you updated also with not only about what's the Earth Hour in terms of what Gold FM team is going to be doing, but also we'll continue our discussion with Fuluri Tuyasawa from the WWF Pacific on Earth Hour 2015. Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind, and we continue our discussion about Earth Hour 2015. I'm sure many of you have heard, or perhaps may not be too aware of what exactly this project is about, but it is about conservation. And we also look at how we, as Fijians and the Pacific Islanders, have been affecting, change, or trying to affect change. And with us, Ms. Tuyasawa from the WWF Pacific office. And now, you mentioned just before the break the plans for 2015. We've established that Earth Hour is about going beyond the hour. Now, the plans for 2015, at least the theme, is looking at climate change.
Use your power to change climate change.
Use your power to change climate change. I like the change climate change. And now we all know the effects of climate change. We have been expecting cyclones from Christmas, and we've had increased heat and also just weather patterns changing. And everyone can attest to this. Now, what is the plan for 2015?
Thank you, Pedeli. For the 2015 Earth Hour campaign, as I've mentioned earlier, the theme is use your power to change climate change. For WWF's Pacific's focus, it will be on climate change, and that is creating an interconnected global community that comes together to share a mutual goal, and that is a sustainable future for our planet. And our aim is to get the support of from thousands and thousands of participants and empower communities on the ground to achieve outcomes. So with the 2015 plans, we have implemented an Earth Hour project, and that is a funding solution to meet the need for water at Mali Island. With Fiji, we have, as you have mentioned earlier, that climate change is a common issue, and we have experienced that daily with the changing weather patterns. So with the dry season that we are facing, dry weather conditions that we are facing, it has resulted in the water shortages in the island of Mali. This is in Vonolevu, in the Tikino Maduata. So the 2015 project, that is a funding solution to meet the water at Mali Island. So for WWF Pacific, we will be organizing an Earth Hour candlelight dinner with His Excellency the President Ratu Epeliane Leticao, and this will be held at Novotel in Lemie on the 28th of March, on the night itself. We will be celebrating Earth Hour at Novotel Entertainment Center, and the dinner we will be raising funds from this dinner to help achieve the outcome of the 2015 project, and that is funding solution to meet the need for water at Mali Island.
Now, is Mali Island for 2015 the only place that WWF Pacific is focusing on?
Yes, that's right, Pedeli. We will focus on Mali Island, and the success from Mali Island will be replicated into other islands around Fiji.
Well, you've definitely identified potential other spots to focus this project on, Mali Island being the one that will initially start it off with the Earth Hour funds and money raised at this time. Yeah. So from all the different activities that others or individuals and organizations can do, this also contributes to it?
Yes, there will be two folds of fundraising. The first one is the Earth Hour Candlelight Dinner organized by WWF Pacific, and this is being sponsored by Ocean Soaps.
Aha.
And the second fundraising will be, we have been empowering corporates to organize to use their power and organize fundraising activities, and we are fortunate to have the support from increasing the number of corporates participating in this year's Earth Hour campaign, and these corporates includes the ANZ Bank. FBC has been a great supporter for this Earth Hour campaign. Ocean Soaps. Sponsoring the Earth Hour Candlelight Dinner with His Excellency the President, TLTB pledging for Mali, and Escomotos organizing the Earth Hour Hot Dog Drive, and Uprising Beach Resort committing to organize a reggae festival. Okay. And proceeds from all these fundraising activities from corporates will go towards the 2015 Earth Hour project, and that is funding solutions to meet the need for water at Mali.
Now, obviously, there's still time and still space to register with your organization.
And we are inviting other corporates to join us, because there's no time limits to these corporates. It is an ongoing activity. As we have mentioned earlier, Earth Hour is going beyond the hour. It is just not within this month of March. It can be after March, and all we want is to see the commitments. This will tell us how these corporates are realizing what is being happening around us.
Now, it's also interesting that you've identified Mali. Mali obviously has this issue of water shortage, and what of other activities that are perhaps organized by various, maybe smaller groups? Can they also come and register?
Yes, Pedeli, we are encouraging each and every individual, not only corporate organizations, we are encouraging each and individual households to participate. And that can be placing a gallon of water, empty gallon in your individual residence, and throwing in some money. And like as I said, it's not only for corporates, it's for every individual. So the focus is to get everyone together, come together, support and come together, celebrate Earth Hour, support the event, and use your power. Use your power.
Use your power to change climate change.
That is the theme for this year. Use your power to change climate change.
Now, you've mentioned that. You've also mentioned the support of the corporate bodies. Now, Can you tell us a little bit about the Earth Hour champions? Now, this we've had Earth Hour champions before. Now, this year, well, we've only just sort of rolled into it as the team here at FBC. Well, how has been going?
Thank you, Pedelia. At the moment, we have the Earth Hour champion, and that is His Excellency the President.
The main champion of Earth Hour.
Yes, Ratu Epeli Nailaticao. He has been with WWF supporting Earth Hour way back in 2012 and still continue till to date.
All right. Well, we'll continue our discussion about Earth Hour 2015 right after this short break. Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind, and we continue our discussion about Earth Hour 2015 come March the 28th. It's during the Hong Kong Sevens weekend. Yes, and I've got Fulori Tuyasawa with me from WWF Pacific. Now, we've been chatting about, well, just before the break, we touched on the main champion, of course, His Excellency the President, Ratu Epeli Nailaticao, who will be also in attendance at the dinner on the 28th. Now, Earth Hour champions, and let me just tell you now, Fulori, that the team here at Gold FM, we've just, recommitted ourselves once again.
Thank you,
So I just wanted to put it out there on the record here. But also with various other organizations, I'm sure you're getting a great response for Earth Hour champions from the various organizations that are in support of Earth Hour. Yes? Definitely. Now, we're looking at the dinner. And again, for those who are still interested, this is on the 28th of
On the
March.
28th of March from 7 p.m. to 10 at Novotel Entertainment Center in Lemmy. And the ticket is $25 per head, $250 per corporate table, table of 10 people.
All right. Now, with that, there's also ways in which others can also commit, just apart from looking at how they can conserve and turning off lights and also fundraising at home. There's other means, right?
Yes, Pedelia, we have also secured a partnership with Vodafone Fiji Limited, and that is for all Vodafone customers and ink users. They can text in. Actually, Vodafone is open a donation line to support Earth Hour, and that is each individual Vodafone customers and ink users can text in EH15 to 812 to donate and support the 2015 Earth Hour project.
Okay, so it's
EH Earth Hour, EH15 to 812.
812. All right, so that's open to Vodafone and ink users.
Yes. And apart from supporting the Earth Hour 2015 project, we just want to encourage each and individual household and corporates to switch off their lights. That's just to support Earth Hour. Switch off non-essential lights on the 28th of March from 8:30 to 9:30.
Okay, here's the thing. You can still continue to watch your Hong Kong Sevens, right?
Yes.
But you just turn off lights that are not being used or are not essential.
That's right, Epideli.
Now, even with corporate bodies, we've had even banks just switch off the lights in the main buildings in various...
We have been receiving feedbacks from banking institutions, corporate organizations, informing us that they are committed to Earth Hour and they will switch off their non-essential lights on the 28th of March.
Now, what are the interesting aspects? Like from last year, how was Earth Hour last year, and what were some of the interesting activities that they had?
With last year, Pedeli, as you've mentioned, you asked for the data and the number of participants. And last year, we received a good turnout from the public attending the candlelight dinner. We also organized a candlelight dinner at Novotel, and that shows a good. It has given us a good a good feedback that this is that each individual households and corporates they are realizing, they are understanding Earth Hour, which which was seen on the night itself, and this year, that's a good thing about it that it has increased. The number of interest from each individual households and organization, and even local communities coming up and advising us that their individual activities for Earth Hour.
Last year, I also remember certain hotels that also organized activities and they made the night a special activity. I believe it was, well, I can't remember which hotel exactly, that turned the whole dining area and had guests wear green. Shangri-La. That's right. So they had everything in green. The lights were even green. And we got to catch a little bit of the footage too. So are we expecting the same sort of response from?
Yes, Pedeli, we've been receiving a good response from hotels, the tourism industry. I would like to name a few. First of all, it's Uprising Beach Resort. Uprising has really committed to this year's Earth Hour event, and that is they will be organizing a reggae festival, and also encouraging their guests to donate towards Earth Hour, supporting Earth Hour, and they have committed to switching off their non-essential lights on the night itself. And secondly, Hilton Hotel in Danarau, they have also showed their interest, and they will be celebrating Earth Hour and also at the same time switching off their non-essential lights. And the same goes to Shangri-La.
And the challenge also is, well, the onus is also on these businesses because they rely on the environment to operate as well. The tourism industry heavily relies on our beautiful beaches and sunshine.
And the good thing is that they are realizing, they are realizing their actions, and they are not only realizing it among their staff and among themselves, but also at creating awareness to the guest, to their guests, and that is a good thing about it.
Is this an area that also WWF Pacific is also looking at in the avenue in terms of working with hotel operators?
Yes, Pedeli.
And how have you started with this, or is this a line that you'll
We
also...
have started engaging hotels and resorts in our other programs, and Earth Hour seems to be our entry point of engagement with these hotels and in the tourism industry.
Now, WWF Pacific, with this Earth Hour project, we've mainly been talking about Fiji. What about the rest of the region?
We have been receiving feedbacks from Tuvalu, so the Solomon Islands and PNG, and we have asked them to update us on their Earth Hour activities, which we will report that online and post it up online, and just to tell everyone that these are not only Fiji that are celebrating Earth Hour, it's also our friends and families around the Pacific region.
Now, looking at in terms of information, what address again, web address would they have to log into?
With Earth Hour, it's earthhour.org.
Earthhour.org.
With earthhour.org, you can click onto that web link, and it takes you to all the different countries around the world that is celebrating Earth Hour, and it has also got Fiji. What is Fiji doing on the night, on 28th of March?
And should anyone wants to contact the WWF Pacific office, how would they go about it?
They can log into the WWF Pacific website, or even pay a visit to WWF office at 4 Ma'afu Street, or they can give us a call on 331-5533.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us and shedding some light on Earth Hour.
Thank you, Pedeli.
And ladies and gentlemen, Fulori Tuyasawa from the WWF Pacific Office. What are the effects of climate change and how important it is to observe Earth Hour 2050? Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind. And, well, we've jumped from national minimum wage to something equally just as hot. And that's the topic of the, recognized workers scheme with New Zealand. And with me is the Director of National Employment Centre, and that's Mr. Viliame Vangelamba. Welcome to the show, Mr. Vangelamba.
Thank you, Apelli.
Well, it's good to have you on the show because I got to tell you, Mr. Vangelamba, this topic of the worker scheme has been, one that has been thoroughly discussed by listeners of Gold FM and also viewers of FBC TV. Now, let's start from the beginning, all right, about the idea of the New Zealand regional, the worker scheme, the recognized worker scheme, and how did this come about?
Thank you, Apelli. Yes, goes back to 2006. I think there was an agreement between New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji in regard to seasonal workers. But due to some circumstances, this was dropped. And I think for the government that in 2000 and
I think we can understand why we didn't.
Come back into place, and especially the two government, the Australian government and New Zealand, give us this opportunity, great opportunity to accept Fiji again for this RSE scheme.
Because this scheme is also available to other Pacific Islanders, namely Samoa and I think the Cook Islands. It's just to some the opening it up for Samoa. Is that right? And now Fiji, we have a lot of Fijians in Australia and New Zealand, and this would have been something that had to be thoroughly negotiated and also had to be considered by your department, because with this first batch of workers that will head to New Zealand will perhaps determine the continuation of the scheme. Now, how did you go about the process of selection?
Okay, thank you. Apelli. Yes, the government has approved the selection criteria, which was submitted. I think the government approved that last year, and as we speak, the foreign employment services are using that selection criteria, which is very vigorous. We, as you said, the 30 pilot workers propose to leave also soon. We make sure that these pilot workers are healthy and fit, so that they can be very productive when they are employed in New Zealand.
It was quite surprising to many that they went through a fitness test.
Yes, they have to go through these vigorous tests. So as I said, we need quality people, and I believe our people work hard, very committed. They work very hard, and just to add, as you said, the pilot team, make sure that this team, because will be the ambassador in this scheme. And once this is successful, it will be a continuous process in the future for our unemployed disadvantages.
Now, how many in total did the applications that come in? Was it over in, how long a period did it take, and how many responded?
As we speak, we have registered 5,000 unemployed interested in these employment preferences. From that 5,000, and they go through these vigorous selection criteria, we managed to only those 101 pass the selection criteria. Now, these 101 are in our work-ready pool. And from that 101, 30 have been selected through the bureau selection. And they are ready to leave our source.
Now, what's the process from now? They await. Do they go through another interview process with potential employers from New Zealand?
Yes, under the bilateral agreements, the final selection is done by the employer, the recognized seasonal employers from New Zealand. So these 30 pilot that have been passed through the selection criteria will be sent to the employers in New Zealand, and they will choose their preferences according to their heights, their weights, their specification. And once they give us that specification, and we'll apply through the visa, through the immigration office in Suva.
Now, all 30 are going to be headed to New Zealand, or do they wait here?
As we speak, we are working on 12. 12 will be leaving also on the 26th in Feb. So that will be decided by the employer, not
by
us. It's the employer-driven, demand-driven.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned that the others make up the ready to be employed. Well, they all be ready to be employed.
Work ready pool.
Work ready pool. Excuse me, the work ready pool, and they remain with the their names remain with the center, the employment center, and will be considered for future.
Yes, that is the reason we would like to have a work ready pool, so that all those who have passed the selection criteria will be put in this ready pool, and we wait for the employer. As you are aware that the arrangements with New Zealand is a demand driven. If this 30 pilot is successful, then we might expect the end of this year they'll demand for some more. So we already have a pool in place.
What's the initial time that they are expected to work there?
The first arrangement with a representative from New Zealand, they said after 7 months. So I think they have allocated certain number for Fiji. As we speak, the total number of RSC workers is about 8,000 for all the regional countries. Right. Samoa, Tonga, Nauru, Kiribati, Vanuatu, and Papua New Guinea. So they increased it to 9,000. So that extra 1,000 they are designated probably for Fiji, because Fiji has joined the scheme.
Now, it's going to depend also on just how well our initial.
Yes, that actually depends on the 30. So we are in our pre-departure training that will be conducted very soon to the 30. We make sure that we train these people aware of the responsibility and accountability for our future RSC workers.
All right. Well, Ms. Thangalamba, we will take a short break, but right after this, I will ask and we'll talk a little bit about that criteria and what those responsibilities entail. Right here on Gold FM, Speak Your Mind, we continue our discussion with the director for the National Employment Center, Mr. Viliame Thangalamba. Welcome back to Gold FM Speak Your Mind, right here with Mr. Viliame Thangalamba, the director of the National Employment Center, and we've been talking about the New Zealand's recognized workers scheme, and we looked at the selection of the over about 100 potential employees, and these successful workers went through vigorous training, as you had highlighted, and 30 have been selected for potential, for the final lot to go to New Zealand, and now 12 are going to be interviewed by a potential employer from New Zealand, and we're also looking at the others to be employed, to also be interviewed and employed by other group. Now, what many will ask for those for our public is, what do they need to bring? What do they need to bring to be able to be considered?
Thank you, Apel. First of all, if you're unemployed, you have to register with the National Employment Center. Once you're employed, there are 4 employment creation services under this policy. One of them is foreign employment. And then they will ask you which type of employment creation service you want to join. So if you want to join foreign employment services, then they will put your foreign employment services. Once you come to do the foreign employment services, you need to have a passport, valid passport for 13 months. Because the time frame for a worker to be working in New Zealand is about 7 months. So you should have a valid passport, and you will go through a health check, vigorous health check. We have to demarcate this one. One is a generic health check, and one is a specific health check. The generic health check can be done by individual general
medical practitioners
around Fiji. But the specific medical check will be done by our
appointed.
We have a designated occupational doctor in the Ministry of Labour. you'll do that. Also, you if you have a police no criminal record,
No criminal
no
record.
record.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing, that you have to be healthy and fit, because this job is not an easy job, because it's
All right. So I want to ask, what types of jobs are we looking at? Like,
it. In New Zealand, we have two services: the viticulture and horticulture. The viticulture is talking about grapes, picking grapes, and the other is apples. And so this is some of the two. And not only they learn how to on the horticulture, I think under the agreement they can choose to do other skills. If they want to learn welding, or the women they want to do sewing. So it's already in the agreement. They can ask the employer also to train them on these skills. Yeah. So these are some of the things that and 17 to RSC.
so does the National Employment Center assist with the preparation of these agreements, or is it solely prepared from by the employers from the foreign countries?
It's a bilateral.
Right.
So it's both parties.
Okay.
They bring their own the document, and they vetted by our legal, including the Solicitor General.
Okay.
So they come up with a document,
Okay.
which is reflected in the bilateral agreement.
Which all will adhere
Yeah,
to.
interagency understanding, which is called the interagency understanding.
Okay.
So we have our two parties' responsibility.
Right. Now, we talked about the 12 that are who will be being interviewed by a potential employer from New Zealand, and they arrive this week. Now, what happens to the other group that awaits?
I think they have this definitive timeline. It depends on their arrangements. As a little bit arranged by our counterpart in New Zealand, that the first employer will be arriving in Fiji this week to do the interview and pick from the 30 that has been gone through the barrel selections.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask, what about those names of those who had been eliminated from the 100 that was selected? What happens to the other names of those? Do they stay in the registration of the National Employment
Yes,
Center?
we have 3 work-ready pools. The final one, what we discussed, the 101.
Right.
So we have only, there are some other, the first, if you fail in the first genetic selection, then you advise, please improve on this area. Improve on this. Get your passport. You have to live in the rural area. These are some of the filtering process. We make sure that basically as a government policy, they first targeting the rural areas. So if you don't do the rural areas, then you are excluded from this initial stage. And maybe after we exhausted all the people living in the rural area, then we move to the urban areas.
What was the response like from the rural areas for this initial phase?
Yes, a very positive response. Yeah, because this policy was coming to play because of the 2010-2011 unemployed and employment survey that conducted by Strategic Planning. That there's a majority of unemployed, majority of the disadvantaged are living in the rural areas. So based on that report, that's why the government came with the policy to target the rural unemployed first before we move into the urban areas.
It was clearly reflected also with the selection process, because we had names being called out for those coming in from Vanuatu, and
Yes.
it was good to hear. It was good to hear, and I mean, it also showed a little bit more about how diverse those who were able to get into the scheme. Yeah?
Yes.
Now, looking at representation, is there a percentage also for female and males, of course, that you're ensuring?
Yes, very interesting appeal. As I said, the vigorous health test. Some of the female, about 60-40%.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of our women are past that test, but it's not really the physical test that conducted by disciplinary forces. This is a customary made, tailor-made for our people.
Yeah, because I was getting worried that they were
Yes.
going through.
Based on the economic of how what they will do in New Zealand in
Right.
terms of the viti and horticulture industries.
So for those of you who may be worried that it is some boot camp that you'll be going through, it is not.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a tailor-made so that we select the right people.
Now, I know the aim is to try and get as many employed through this scheme. Now, what are we looking at for the next phase? What's the direction?
Yes, we would like every unemployed in Fiji to get employed, to be employed. This is a great opportunity for people. We're hoping that Australia will already open the doors, but we are waiting for the government approval, cabinet decision on Australia. As we wait, we like to continue with this process, selection process, so that we capacity build our work-ready pool. So when Australia opens up, we already
got it ready.
We're ready. Just move people across.
Well, thank you very much for joining us and shedding more light on this worker scheme. Mr. William Methangalamba, now, before you leave, is there any other words that you'd like to impart to our potential employees headed to the foreign countries?
Yeah, thank you, Pen. Yes, I will encourage our unemployed there in our rural setting, also in our urban setting. The door is open for everyone to come and register with Forest. And this is a great opportunity for us to improve our livelihoods. And I know that unemployment is a big agenda for Fiji, and this surely will decrease unemployment in Fiji, and it will also improve our livelihoods. And RSC, for information, not only you learn how to do to work on the horticulture, also you can learn some skills. And when you come back from Fiji, you can start your own business. That's the main idea behind it. It's already there in the bilateral agreement, and the responsibility of the employer make sure that you are paid correctly, and the wages is very attractive, and the bonus is on the workers moving to Australia, that they'll honored and be a great ambassador for Fiji. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Methangalamba, and thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this afternoon. And who, and also I'd just like to add, who doesn't want to work overseas, yeah? Well, that's the show for you this afternoon, and thank you again for joining us. Feel free to also send us your comments on goldfm@mbc.com.fj. Until next week's Gold FM Speak Your Mind, you have a great week.